once more, huh?
I'm done. Hello, everyone. Sorry,
Hello, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, Vicky.
that was entirely improvised, by the way, gang. So, sorry.
I I didn't give Jimmy the easiest bass line to play along to there, I don't
You
think.
said D minor, and that was not the key center. Anyway,
Oh, it was in D major.
yeah, yeah, gathered. Too late on.
I
Anyway,
gotta throw you some curveballs, Jimmy. You find it too easy otherwise.
I just want to have a quiet life. So, welcome everybody. So, I guess today we wanted to do a little bit of an FAQ type thing, because we get asked a bunch of questions a lot of the time. And a lot of the questions we get are kind of similar for both of us. So just thought it'd be nice to kind of talk about these things. And if you've got any burning questions, we'll answer those too. But cool. Again. But yeah, how are you, Mike? What's going on? Good to see you.
There, you too, buddy. Very good. I've been practicing. I've got my bass on today. I've been practicing a lot of bass recently, so I've been doing some home recording and guitar practice as always. How about yourself?
A lot of practice. I'm working through my Brazilian jazz standards at the minute. So,
Okay. You got anything to show us? Anything
so
sounding good already?
no, probably not. It's all kind of like groove-based stuff,
Yeah.
and that kind of all that kind of sound and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. But cool. So I guess that kind of, in a weird way, almost links us to first question. I've actually written them down in this red notebook. So I don't know about you, Mike, but I get asked a lot about guitar practice, and the I've kind of given that a very broad term, but often, how do I practice? How long should I practice? What should I practice? And sometimes, why should I practice? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the why is a really really big one for me because there's a few things that happen, and I've been speaking to a few people about this week because I've got loads of students, and I'm sure you're the same. Loads of students who pick everything I show them up really, really, really quickly, but then have maybe not been practicing so much recently, and then I can see them kind of starting to believe that they're not very good at playing the guitar, and maybe this isn't for me because I'm not progressing as far as the other people. So the big why is just because once you practice, it's just a little bit of effort as well. A little bit goes a long way, and if you do, you'll see the progression, and then you have more and more and more fun with the guitar. And that's the thing. That's why I want to be here and teach everyone the guitar, is because I want everyone to have as much fun as I do. I've been here since sitting in this chair more or less since about 8 a.m. this morning, and I've been having a really really good time with my guitars and my bass. Um, Apart when it comes to the what, this is something I'm very much not clear with my students about. So I do apologise to those who come to my lessons, because I do have people asking what they should practice, especially parents. Um, I don't know if you're the same with this, Jimmy, but I would say something which I haven't made clear to people is I think everyone should do when they practice 5 minutes of picking warm-ups with nothing on the fretboard happening, and then 5 minutes of some kind of technical exercise, and then maybe a bit of that could be enough. That really could be enough. But then on top of that, maybe a topic for the day, some chords or some strumming or something like that. What do you think?
So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with why. Mainly because it's you working on something that hopefully should be fun. Um, but again, we can talk about that in more detail at another point probably. But in terms of what, um, it depends entirely on where you're at and what you're doing. But there's certain things that I do every day, things like picking and kind of technical exercises to kind of keep myself in my own practice, kind of at a certain level. And it depends what you want to do and what you're working on. But if you follow the method in the book, you know, just kind of have a look through, kind of point one. Your next set of unticked things is probably a good place to start. But for me personally, I think it's about balance, and I really think that you should try and cover a bit of everything in your practice. Do a little warm up, like picking exercises, get the technical stuff down, but then practice some chords, practice a scale, and practice some rhythms, and then see if you can maybe practice a song, and just you can it can be as simple as 3-4 minutes on each one of those topics, and then you have a very kind of practice kind of area there.
So do a small amount of everything. The
If you
seven skills.
if you do that frequently, you're building everything up in a very kind of organic way, rather than you'll spend ages on one topic, and then you'll find that you're going to have to do so much revision because you've not touched base with all these other kind of areas that you haven't looked at. And for me, I find that it can cause a lot of problems later down the line if you don't really have a good balance in terms of what you're practicing. And as well, the other thing, I think I've said this before, but stop practicing what you're good at. Practice what you're bad at. That's how you get better. It's it feels good to play things that you can already play, but it's not going to help you in the areas that you'd like to improve in. So
No, it's great. It's really resonated with me as well, because I'm absolutely a binger when it comes to my practice, where I will just do my picking warm up, do my technical exercises, and then I'll just focus on one thing for hours and hours. And I think as a result of that, I am what I am as a guitar player, where there's a few things that I can do very, very, very well, and then some massive gaps in technique and certain topics. So yeah, don't be like me, kids. do a bit of everything.
hey, he's still fantastic, and he's practicing now. He's practicing now.
Yeah. I'm doing all my things. There's not enough time though, is there?
Yeah, I guess as well, kind of leading on from that. Vicky's just left us a comment. Variety, yes, variety, Vicky. Start with picking, warm up, a few different topics, and rotate. So you're working on different things, different days, rather than all the things all the days. But again, everybody's different, and everyone absorbs knowledge in their own way. So you've got to find what works for you. But if you can kind of broaden what it is that you do, rather than focus on a very small thing, I think that'd help. So, what are you practicing at the minute, Mike, and how are you practicing? Any top tips?
Yeah, the big thing for me, and lots of people who have come to my classes this week will know this already, but you turned me on to a drum looping app called Drum Genius, which I think we have spoken about before. But I've really over the last 2 weeks been practicing just songs with these drum loops, and I think you mentioned earlier something about it being fun and making it fun. The number one thing of the drum loop is it makes it so much more fun to practice than to the metronome. I think it's obviously important to practice the metronome as well, but the when it comes to some rhythm things, it's over the last 2 weeks it's totally changed the way I've performed things. Well, I'll show you something actually, if that's okay. I've got something up here. So I've been recording a song. I've been recording a song for the last 2 weeks, and here, let's turn my camera around. Okay, here's my screen. Can you see what's on there? Enough.
You could share screen. I've allowed you to do that.
Oh, this is on a different computer.
I mean, what?
So do you see this one? This line here?
Yes.
It's, if you notice, anyone at home, this is a bunch of different chopped up audio from different. This is about 7 different bass takes, and I've gone through bar by bar and listened to the best bits and then cut them up and put them together. This is an absolute lie. This is from someone who's not sure about their bass playing and their rhythm, and then over the last 2 weeks I've been practicing the same bass line to a drum loop, and then last week I did this take, which you can see is one nice take, and it's 10 times better than the one below. And I think it's because I was doing this. I'll play it for you a little bit.
Please do.
It was This is the bass line. It's what we're doing at the beginning, but it's in D major, not D minor, Jimmy. It's in
Okay.
D. And I had been practicing it to the metronome before. And then thought I was doing absolutely fine. And then when I listen back, it's not as groovy or as tight as I wanted it to be. And I think a big part of that is because of it's just a click and it's just on the beat. So it's the same thing over and over, and it's just on the beat. But with at the same tempo, I'll try and get us to the same tempo. This drum groove has firstly the difference between the bass drum and then the snare, so we get to feel how different they are. So one is bass, two is snare, so it's bass, snare, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's also got the cymbals going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2.
That's not completely straight. Well, that is very slightly swung there.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe this is helping my groove as well then. And so then when I've been practicing this, I've been thinking about everything should be every movement I do has to be at the same time as something that's happening within the drum take. So I'm coming and I'm going to come off the snare. And then, so it feels much groovier. And in the song, I'm not actually using those drums. There aren't going to be any drums. But once I take those drums away, this bass part now has so much of the information and groove from the drum track in. So it brings a whole rhythm to the song, which wasn't there before when I was doing my average bass line. Nice. So this is something, when Vicky's back, properly and we have our next meeting, I'd like us to talk about maybe some kind of drum looping things to recommend to the students, because it's really good fun.
Yeah, I mean I do that all the time with my bass students as it stands. I think you've seen them, because obviously bass is actually, in my books, is a rhythm instrument rather than a harmony or melody instrument. And that kind of importance of groove, and it should really translate to guitar as well, because it is a rhythmical instrument.
But I've done this. I've done the same practice to the guitar part as well, and
Nice.
making sure that a bit like the senior level 2 song exercise with the one which is Stand By Me, and it's got the muted strum. That. Mine's a bit like that, but I'm just doing that muted strum on beats 2 and 4 when the snare drum happens. So that has really helped playing along to that, because if it's just a click, it's not telling me when the snare is necessarily. I know, but yeah. So it's really helped.
So there is. Sorry for literally everyone who's watching. I'm going to go on a very. Ruben, it is called Drum Genius. And yes, Gemma, we will post a link to it. It's on the App Store for both Android and iOS, I believe. So you get 3 loops for free, but be very careful, because once you download one, that's like one of your free loops gone. We can recommend you the good ones. But what am I trying to say here? Yeah, so you get 3 for free, but I think I paid something like £5, maybe £6, and I got all of them. And there's absolutely loads, but I think you can get certain packages and pay different things. But again, it's less than a £5 if you want more loops. But it's really useful, and the icon is a dude with a green head.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. He's got it looks like, I don't know, what does it look like? It looks like some kind of 80s sci-fi futuristic dystopian. He's got shades on and a leather jacket, and he's got a green face.
That's the one. Yeah. So if hopefully if Vicky's well good at video editing, you should be able to see the icon now. That's for YouTube. Anyway, so sorry. So yeah, there's a similar exercise that a lot of jazz students do, but it's with a metronome, and you don't have to play jazz to use this exercise. It is a very cool one. So whatever tempo you're playing something at, I don't know, let's go 130 for example. Near that, okay?
Yep.
So that's one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could basically just half your metronome. So I could put this at 65 now. And each of the beats now, I'm treating them as beats 2 and 4. If that makes sense. I'd have 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So it kind of creates that sense of, a bit more freedom, and it's a very cool metronome exercise. And you don't have to just play chord progressions to it; you can do everything. But it kind of creates that sort of, oh, Vicky's found it, excellent, thanks, Vicky. Kind of sense of like there's more going on than just a metronome just going da 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 da. Because in my mind, I kind of treat a metronome when it's on every beat as like training wheels, where it spells the beats out for you and exactly where they are. But for me, like when you get beyond that, you want to build that internal kind of clock and really kind of have the rhythm like internalized, and you should be able to bounce with it and kind of manipulate it in a sense. But anyway, cool metronome.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great.
Excellent. Cool. Do you want to move on to our next frequently asked question?
Yes, please.
We can give you a little hint of some of the questions that we get asked and that we had prepared to talk about. Things like we get asked about I want to join a band. How do I do that? Any tips, tricks, like what sort of things should I be focusing on? So that's one thing. Another thing we get asked a lot is like, do I do rhythm guitar or lead guitar? That's another thing that we're happy to talk about, but a bit of feedback would be nice. Should I get an electric guitar? That's a big one. And then another one that I get mainly in class is how do I change chords effectively? And to be honest, I could talk for hours on that, but just, we'll give it 30 seconds just to see if anyone has any preferences. And if not, we'll just dive into something and see what happens.
Yeah, the chord one is something that you could probably do a whole series on of Facebook Lives, don't you think?
Yeah, but we can give a quick rundown now,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, guys, there's I dropped in on some of Jimmy's lessons on Saturday, and yeah, this is going to be a really good one about kind of what is it? How would you call it? It's almost like a roadmap or a way of thinking about how to change your chords and grouping fingers together and thinking about different movements, all these things, which I never really thought about because I remember learning my chords when I was a teenager, and then they're done, aren't they? And then I've, don't really think about them anymore because they're there. But actually thinking about, how you change between different ones. Cool. No one's commented on here at the moment, so we'll chat about something. Do you have a top one that you'd like to talk about, Jimmy, out of those topics?
I think maybe we can dive into some chords and get some of your thoughts on some of these chord changes, things like that.
Yeah.
So, big question that we get asked a lot is just about changing chords and how we can do it quickly, basically. And for my students, hopefully you're sick of hearing me say this because I say it a lot. Oh, we've just had a suggestion, rhythm or lead. We can dive into that very, very quickly as well then.
Yeah, shall we?
Yeah, I'd rather take a suggestion because we could probably do all day on chord changes. So, rhythm or lead. So, Bruno, thanks for the input. If there's any specifics around that, we can kind of give us, I guess we can give our kind of takes on what we think when people ask us that. But for me personally, I don't see rhythm or lead. I feel like, you should be able to do both because traditionally it's just like the rhythm player plays the chords and then the lead player just plays the solos. And it's like, yeah, that's cool and everything, but if you've got if you're playing a solo in a song or in a band, the likelihood is that you're gonna have 30 seconds max to shine, depending on what kind of band it is, and then you're going to be playing rhythm anyway for the rest of it. So I think that, starting with rhythm is a great foundation, to be honest. And when we say rhythm as well, just being able to navigate some chords and just playing a group context for me is super important. But Mike, what are your thoughts on the idea of rhythm and lead? Because I think, you should be able to do both, and
Yeah, absolutely.
one complements the other as well.
Well, one does complement the other. If you don't have any rhythm and or rhythm skills, your solos are going to be rubbish. So that's something to know because of your solos have a rhythm to them. So it is, I'll say it again and again and again, it's the most important thing. It's more important than the notes we play. Is playing with a good groove and sense of timing. But I went to college at, was it 16, 17, to do a BTEC in music, and I was doing a music course. I was one of two guitar players there, and I was often I thought of myself as a solo guitar player. I never really messed around with chords at all, and I was just always just doing my pentatonic scale and doing some cheesy things over the top. And I had quite a few times where there was someone who was kind of playing the whole band playing the song, and I was just standing on stage until my 30 seconds came up, and that was really really bad. I think because it was awkward just standing there waiting for my moment, and then you know outside of that I could have done so much more. I think even if you are going to focus on kind of I want to be a good solo player, you probably need to be able to kind of comp in the back with chords or triads over the band while things are going on. But unlike you, the playing I do in my personal time, I when I play guitar, I'm very rarely strumming chords and I'm very rarely doing guitar solos. Everything is a bit of a kind of something in between.
Nice little
It's
hybrid. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's my thoughts. What were you thinking, Jimmy?
Again, yeah, I think do both. Do both. If you don't, it depends on, again, there's things like genres, things like that. But
Mm,
if you don't understand what's going on in the rhythm section, with what the rhythm player is doing, say you're taking a blues, if you don't, if you've just studied like your pentatonics, you've just done your leads, like you can't really navigate the chord changes and play
mm.
leads effectively. So that's, you need to, like, cool, that's in the first chord, second chord, uh, and that's, back to your first chord. And it's that thing of like, if you want to play more sophisticated sounding stuff, you need to know what's going on in the rhythm section. By that I mean the harmony and then the chords. And in terms of like rhythm itself, phrasing, it's all rhythm based. It is all rhythm based and kind of leaving gaps. And you can't just, I mean, you can in some genres just shred for days, but I get really tired. I feel like I need to take a nap if I have to play. What you're saying is the rhythm guitarist is the unsung hero. Yeah, pretty much. But often rhythm players are probably really good lead players, but might not necessarily have the time to, or don't get the chance to shine. But people like Malcolm Young, prime example, considered like one of the best guitarists all time, but is widely undershadowed by his brother Angus. And that what he did in terms of like kind of putting together chords and arrangements and things like that, and how he played the guitar, it was truly innovating. And it is a big reason I think why AC/DC was as successful as they were,
Oh,
because of the rhythm
absolutely.
guitar. It helped that his brother could shred, but like without Malcolm on the rhythm section, it just would not have been anywhere near.
Mm,
So
mm.
we got a comment from Vicky. I've been down memory lane listening to my old band from the 90s. Technically, I was the lead guitarist, but often I was comping, as Mike said, playing triads. Yeah, whole rhythmic stuff when I wasn't going. Yeah, but it's the thing though. If you don't do that stuff, you've got nothing to do for a long time. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. I can feel a bit like flustered sometimes, especially on stage, and that normally happens if I'm just stood like a lemon waiting for my thing to do. And if it's like 4 minutes of me just stood really awkwardly on stage, it's yeah, I definitely think it'd be nice just to be able to, you know, do a couple of things along, just to have something to do as well. So that's my personal opinion on it, but hey.
Yeah, and when it comes to rhythm, it's the thing where if someone can play kind of a fancy solo, but their rhythm isn't good and their sense of timing isn't spot on, you get loads of people going, "Oh wow, that's really cool." But actually, if you look at the audience, there'll probably be next to no movement. But if you got someone who's playing something very very simple but is an absolute master of timing and groove, the whole crowd are going to be moving and dancing around. And for me, that is the most important thing. That everyone comes together and has a bit of a dance. And like not, I'm a little bit interested in doing something fancy that people go, oh wow, that's cool, but not as interested as having a good vibe when you play live and everyone dancing around, for sure. So I would, I'm going more and more rhythm if I have to pick a side. Really, really, really. If I was only allowed to do one, I would be a rhythm guitar player every day.
Fair play, fair play. But again, everything in moderation, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one's gonna dance or pay you to play in 13/8, so I don't know. But yeah. Amazing. We're almost out of time, but is there anything that you wanna think about, discuss before we adjourn for the weekend?
No, I think it's all good my end. I think we've chatted about, well, we did two topics today, but I think it's worth going into detail and chatting about these things. That's what these Facebook Live things are all good for. How about yourself though? Anything on your mind?
No, a part of me wants to have another crack at your bass line now that, you know.
Oh, well, let's finish with that. Jimmy, it's in D major, okay?
D major? You sure?
No, not 100% sure, no. I'll just plug on in.
Okay.
So I'm going, do you want the chords or are you going to hear them out?
I'll hear them out. I was just expecting minor. I was like, no.
I do have a little diminished chord coming up second. Okay, so enjoy that.
Is it the second one?
Yeah.
No. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. I'm doing the same thing. Okay, I have to sort out all my. This is the only problem I still have to. Maybe we'll do a Q&A on this at some point, Jimmy. I'll ask you how you manage your home studio space without having a spaghetti junction, cables everywhere, and bumping things in the wall. Do you have
ties and hooks?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're so organised.
I do what I can from time to time. So bearing in mind, guys, again, this is another great thing about music. Like Mike and I haven't seen each other in person in a very long time. When we do see each other, it's always within the context of a lesson or a live show. And you can just play something and we can just have fun and jam out, which is why you should practice, so you can have loads of fun with people just playing music and having a good old time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are you doing it with drums?
Yeah, shall we? Here we are.
Are you ready?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
That's fun. Sorry, guys.
It's
Anyway,
lovely.
guys, have a wonderful weekend. Any words of wisdom, Mike?
Have a fantastic time and play some guitar.
That, just that. Cool. Awesome stuff. Well, yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. How do you not be live? Oh, I figured it out. Right, everyone. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you,
weekend.
everyone. Bye
We'll see
bye.
most of you tomorrow, but bye.
Bye bye.